Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to a new class today for second secondary, the Traveler book. Our lesson today, as you can see here, has some listening, speaking, and writing. So let's see what we have for today. And the object is actually we have three. One, in this lesson you can learn how to practice listening for specific information and choosing the picture which best answers the question. So we're going to listen, and after listening, there is a question or there are questions. So today we will listen and check the picture. Two, we'll practice speculating and reaching a decision. So we'll talk about advantages and disadvantages of something. So we have to choose so we can decide or reach out for a decision. Three, we're going to identify the content and paragraph organization of informal letter giving news. So we're going to, this is about writing, so we're going to have some writing answers about how we write informal letter. So let's get started with the first objective, which is to practice listening. Before that, if you take a look at those people here, the big question always when we ask little children, what would you like to be in the future? Most of them say engineers, doctors, lawyers. So it's important because you spend like maybe 16 years of study. So from year when you're grade 1 till you graduate, you have a very important decision, which is what is the best career for you. Of course, choosing a career is a very important thing. So here we have different professions, career. Maybe we have a teacher here, a nurse, a doctor, a pilot, an engineer, and maybe lawyer, and soldier, officer, firefighter. We have too many people here have their jobs. So the big question is, what is important when choosing a career? The most important thing when you choose a career is that most of people think that they want an easy career, comfortable job, like maybe businessman, a job with high social position. So like doctors, everybody respects you, so you get some respect when you choose a career. And many people actually choose their career and they have concerns about salaries and money. So they want a career that can be profitable and where they can make a lot of money out of this career. So it is important because it's about your whole life and maybe your family life in the future. So that is about the job. So what if we have some free time, or what we call leisure time? So you can see here people in a resort or in some entertainment city. Some of them play chess, some of them are playing music, some are eating, some are swimming, fishing, jogging, bike riding, skate, and some of them even drinking. So in your leisure time, you can go and play some sport, go to eat, see some friends, drink something, and so on. So the question, are you happy with the amount of leisure time you have? Why and why not? Are you satisfied, or are you happy that you have too much free time? Many people think they don't have too much free time, but many, for you as students, many students have leisure time for 3 months on summer. So really you have some free time on summer. The rest of the time, most of the time, you are studying, preparing for quizzes, tests, and also reading, doing homework, and a lot of things. But maybe you're also free time on your weekend. So free time is important because you can relax, have some sunshine, and do some sport. Now let's go to the second, what we said in the first objective. Let's try to listen to something. Now today we have something a little bit different. So before we listen to this listening activity, let's go and talk about something very important. Before you start listening, here are some tips for you. Before you start listening, look at the 3 pictures. So now you have 3 pictures. Okay? You have to choose one. So this listening activity is a little bit different today. So we're going to listen, and after we listen, you have 3 pictures. So according to what you have listened, you have to choose the correct picture. You have picture A, B, and C. Alright? So before you start listening, look at the 3 pictures carefully, so to get a general idea of what you are going to hear. 2, listen carefully to the dialogue and focus on the question. So when you listen, focus on the question. What does the question really want? All 3 pictures may be referred to in the dialogue. However, only one of them correctly answers the question. So very simply, I'm going to give you an example. So you listen now, okay, and then after you listen, you choose. What have they got plenty of? So somebody have too much of what? Envelopes, papers, or pens. According to what you listen, now you're going to listen and decide, is it A, B, or C? Another example, what time did the man want to wake up? So you're going to listen about to a man who wants to wake up on a certain time. So what was the time? What time was it? 7, A, B, is it 8, or C, or 9? Be careful, maybe you hear 7, 9, 10, but 1 is correct according to what you listen, but you have to listen first. 3, also you got ice cream, cake, and some fruit. So what does the man tell his wife to make? You have to know. How do you know? We will listen and then we choose the picture. And then, also that is for question number 4, which is loading and coming up in a minute. So while you're just taking a look at this, I'm going to prepare for you the listening file. Alright? So get ready to listen, and once you listen, you need to make your choice. So you have to choose what you have listened. Okay? So meanwhile, try to get your headphones ready. So we're going to try to listen to a conversation about people, and then I will stop and then ask you about what did you listen. Alright? So let's go to the beginning. I think the website is loading, so sorry for that. Maybe it's going to take some minutes. Alright? Okay, here we go. So this is the first thing. Now you have to listen, and then I'll ask you the question, what have they got plenty of? Plenty of means too much. Alright? So when I say too much, it means you have to pick 1, 2, 3. Alright? I will prepare for you the file. Okay. Okay, I'm going to disable my microphone so you can hear.
3A. Listening and speaking. Listening. You will hear 5 short conversations. For questions 1 to 5, choose the picture which answers the question correctly. 1. What have they got plenty of?
I think we should order some office supplies. We definitely need some paper.
Yes, you're right. And we also need some envelopes.
Do we need any pens?
No, we've got 2 boxes full of those.
Plenty of. They have too much of what? They have envelopes, they have papers, and they have pens. But here they have not too many what? Do they have too many pens, too many papers, or too many envelopes? So let's try to choose A, B, or C. Yes, sure, yes, it's C. That's right. So they got plenty of pens, according to what we heard. Very good. Let's jump off to the second question, and let's listen.
2. What time did the man want to wake up?
What happened to you this morning? You were supposed to be here at 9.
I know. I thought I set my alarm for 7 a.m, but when I woke up it was 8.
But how come it took you so long to get to work?
There was an accident on the road. I was stuck in traffic for nearly 2 hours.
So the man wanted to wake up at 7 and set his alarm at 7, but he could not come at 7. That's right, good. So it's A. He wanted to wake up at 7. So he woke up at 7, but he could not make it to the job because he got an accident on the road and stuck into the jam. Very good. Let's go on to the third question. Now we got A, B, C, ice cream, cake, and fruit. So what does the man tell his wife to make? Let's listen.
3. What does the man tell his wife to make?
I think I'm going to have a selection of desserts to choose from tonight. A cake?
A cake is fine, but make sure you have some ice cream too, because you know that's what I like best.
Don't worry, I'm making ice cream sundaes.
What else are you making?
Well, I thought I'd include something light, like fruit.
Good idea.
So the man told his wife to make different sweets or selection of desserts, but you can buy some fruit, and she already prepared the cake. But he asked for what? Yes, for ice cream. That's right, which is A. So he asked his wife to get or to prepare some ice cream for him. Good. Now let's go if we have more. 4. What is the man's hobby? Is he a gardener? Is he a painter? Is he a photographer? Let's listen and find out.
4. What is the man's hobby?
Wow, that's a beautiful painting. Did you paint that yourself?
No, my brother did. I'm more into photography. I especially like taking pictures of gardens and flowers.
So
5.
the man. What is the man's hobby? Is it A, gardener, B, a painter, or C, a photographer? It's a photographer, that's right, because you heard maybe painter, but that's not correct, because painter is for the guy, for his brother. But the man asking this man what is his hobby on free time, he said he likes to take pictures, so he's a photographer. 5. What activity do both people like? So we have 2 people like one thing. Is it hitchhiking, is it horse riding, or fishing? Let's listen again and find out.
What activity do both people like?
I think we should do something active this weekend.
What do you suggest?
Well, I have a few ideas. We could go hiking in the mountains.
Sounds interesting. Or we could go fishing at the lake.
I'm not that keen on fishing. I have another idea. Do you remember that riding school we saw when we were driving back from the park yesterday? Why don't we go and have a riding lesson?
I think hiking in the mountains sounds better.
So, as you can see, each one of them wanted a different thing, but both agreed on one thing, which is A. That's right, which is hiking in the mountains. That's right. See, we can listen and decide one of the three pictures according to what we have listened. Even though sometimes you can hear a horse riding, sometimes you could hear fishing, but both men agreed to do hiking on the next weekend. So here are the answers: CAA, CA. Now let's try to speak with you. So once we go to speak, it means you have to use your microphones. If you just take a look at this picture, we got a boy trying to climb up a wall, and this is some kind of sport actually called climbing wall, here for people to climb walls and just try to practice before they climb hills and mountains. So everything almost have advantages and disadvantages, goods and bads. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of this activity, which is climbing a wall here? Yes, it's dangerous actually. Most of the time it's dangerous, but you got some safety procedures, like you got a rope attached to you, so whenever you fall, these ropes will hold you up, as you got rubber bands here tied your body. And some also men or boys will find it interesting because it's challenging and it moves your muscles and it gives you some energy and it is exciting. You can count too many advantages for this, but most of the time, do not do it alone. There are people to help you and know how to do some safety procedures for you. If you do it without these rubs and bands, you may fall and get yourself really a critical condition. So, as I told you about this, wall climbing or climbing a wall, I've tried to use some expressions like, in my opinion, I think it would be a good idea, because some young people may find it, or some boys may find this difficult, because this would be useful for your muscles, this would be useful for your body in general, would provide young people with an opportunity to, so if you do it in the future, you may become a professional climber and you can go and climb a mountain. I don't think many young people would be interested in it because, especially girls, they don't like mountain climbing in general. So these are some useful expressions that you can use actually to make your conversation or speaking extended and useful. Another activity, if we just could imagine that your local council is building a new youth center in your area, a committee is deciding what activities and facilities the center should offer. The pictures below show the suggestions that are being considered. So imagine here in Riyadh, they decided to build a youth center, a center for young men and girls. So, and a committee will listen to you. So what do you want to tell them to do to you? What activity you want? Football, you want hiking, you want what? And what facilities you want? You want playgrounds, you want swimming pool. So imagine yourself, you're going to talk with the committee and ask them why exactly what you want and what they should offer. So let's take a look at these pictures here. You're going to ask them for internet access. So if you go to this center, you need internet because people now need internet everywhere. And you're going to ask them for a table tennis, so you can play table tennis. Some would ask for a swimming pool. Others would ask for a ice rink. Some would ask, for football playground. So we got advantages and disadvantages of each activity. So which two would appeal most to young people? What do you think? Is it internet access or tennis table? You can use some words like active, simulating, creative, keep fit, competitive. fun, socializing, strength, challenging, difficult, entertainment, boring, and do research. So the advantages is that internet is a creative way to study, so you can depend on yourself, and also you can actually do search and get all the information and depend on yourself. It got some privacy, and it helps people really build some self-confidence in them. While the disadvantages for the internet access is that you cannot be very active because you're sitting all the time. You cannot keep fit because you're not moving and you're not burning any calories. You don't socialize because you spend most of your time, you can't talk to people, all right? And some people might find it boring without, spending hours on the internet. Some spend really too many hours. Some of them do research, some of them do computer games, some of them listen to music, some of them read, and so on. So also the advantages for a table tennis, it's active, it's also simulating. It keeps you fit because you move, you play, you got some sweat. It's competitive and it's fun at the same time, all right? And you can socialize, you can meet people, and there's a lot of entertainment, in table tennis. So as you have heard, we have really counted too many advantages and disadvantages for everything. Of course, it is fun, it's simulating, it's competitive, it's socializing if you play table tennis. It's very nice. You burn calories, you move, you get some sweat. It's a sport, you meet new people. It's fun, it's competitive, so you can compete with others, meet other people, have maybe a prize or a gift. And actually disadvantages of table tennis that sometimes, most of the time, spend too much time on it, but it's fun. Actually, if you spend too much time on everything, it gets to be a bad thing in the end. And as for the internet access, it is some people find it fun because you play video games. Other people find it boring. It's not competitive because, competitive only if you play video games, but it's most of the time for some people would find it boring, but other people would know how to use it and get some advantages, like they do research, they challenge other people on the internet, they do some IQ tests, they really actually find it creative, so they do some projects and search and so on. So until we get the second slide on, as you heard, we're trying to speak about things that really have advantages and disadvantages at the same time. So everything has advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes something can have more advantages than disadvantages, and vice versa. Other things have disadvantages more than the advantages. We just try to make a comparison between these two things of comparing advantages and disadvantages. Okay, it was prayer time. So, as we have said here about the advantages and disadvantages, we just discussed this too much. Now let's jump off to something more interesting. Now let's talk about writing. Writing is a very good thing for students, and unfortunately not too many students write too much. So when writing informal letter, it means like, a letter to your friend, a letter to your neighbor, someone, it's not like a letter to your principal, to your teacher, or to someone in a job, or your boss or your director. So it's just a normal letter, like those letters that we send on the email. So start with a greeting. So once you start with a greeting, you can use an appropriate greeting like dear, hello, hi, salam alaikum. Okay, opening paragraph, the first paragraph, you can use set phrases to begin your letter and say why you're writing. I'm writing, I hope you're fine, it was nice to hear from you, I'm trying to tell you this and I'm trying to tell you that, and so on. Then the next paragraph, which is the main paragraph, you could have 1 or 2 paragraphs too. You give your main news. I am now doing 1, 2, 3. I have traveled. I passed grade 12. I went to the college. And you can continue with more news. Now I'm playing football. I joined the Hilal team, and so on. You can start closing the paragraph by giving a reason for your ending the letter, and you say you're ending the letter because you have just finished all the news. And then you can use set of phrases to end your letter, like well, finally, at the end, that's all for now, waiting for your letter. And then you sign off, use a signature ending like yours, faithfully yours, regards, take care, see you soon, waiting from, and so on. So this is just a form of how we write an informal letter. So you can remember, when writing an informal letter, try to use informal language, like gonna, wanna, ain't. That's okay, because this is an informal language to your friend. You can use short forms like I am not, I didn't, I don't, I can't, and so on. You can have some exclamation marks like it was great, so you have this exclamation mark. And you can ask some direct questions like what are you up to, what you're doing now, what are your plans for tomorrow, and so on. And you can use some expressions like well, okay, of course, moreover, actually, that's right, so on. And these are some examples. So when you write, you just need to remember the form of writing which we discussed a while ago, which is this: greeting, opening paragraph, main part, closing paragraph, and then you sign off with faithful yours, waiting from, and then you start with the opening, with a greeting, then opening, and then main paragraph, and then you close, and then you start with a signing off your paragraph. I do advise you to write as much as possible, because writing is like, when you ride the bike for the first time, you cannot control the steering of the bike, but the more you practice, slowly and suddenly you become a very good bike rider. Or when you get the balance, you get really a good control of your biking. It's the same thing for writing. The more you write, you do mistakes, and then you learn from your mistakes. Then the first time you do 50% of your writing full of mistakes, then you write again, it becomes 40, and then you write again, it becomes 20 and 30 and 10 and so on. There you go, and then you become a good writer. Now this is just an example or some kind of a sample writing. You wrote to your friend telling him a friend of yours has recently moved away from another city, so you don't know anything about him, and he does not know too much about you. So write an informal letter to him or her and tell her or him about your news. So, dear Jabir, sorry for not getting in touch sooner. So this is the opening, and this is the greeting, and this is the opening. But I've been really busy sitting into my flat and getting used to my new job. I hope all of you back in Riyadh are okay. Dammam is a beautiful city and I've got a really nice flat with a lovely balcony. It's quite near my job too. You should come and visit me soon. There are lots of things to do here and I'm sure we will have lots of fun. Why don't you try to come next weekend? I like my new job a lot. The school I teach at is a nice modern building and the rest of the staff are very friendly and helpful. But teaching is hard work, believe me. I've been correcting essays all weekend and I still haven't finished them all. Well, that's all for now. I really must get back to my essays. Say hello to everyone from me and keep in touch. Okay? Take care, Ali. So this is Ali wrote to his friend Jabir, giving him some news because he moved to Dammam. Alright, so what did we do today? This is the summary. We had some tips for listening and then we had some tips for speaking and how we use speaking for disadvantages and disadvantages, so we can use some expressions here. And then for writing, we talked about how to write an informal letter. So you can write an informal letter to your friends, your dear friends. So you can start with a greeting, opening paragraph, main part, and closing the part, and finally signing off your letter. It was just a sample writing at the beginning from Ali to his friend Jabir. Now these are the 11 references for you from 1 to